In the heart of the savannah, nestled between rolling hills and bordered by a sacred forest, lay the village of Dwamanso. The village was steeped in tradition, with customs handed down through generations, shaping the lives of its people. Among these customs was an ancient taboo. The birth of twins was considered an abomination. This belief traced its origins to a time when a pair of twins, according to legend, had unleashed a great curse upon the land. They were said to have angered the gods by defying sacred laws, leading to famine and suffering. Over time, this tale was woven into the fabric of Dwamanso's traditions, casting twins as harbingers of misfortune. The fear of history repeating itself perpetuated this stigma, and the village's elders ensured that the taboo remained unchallenged, cloaked in the guise of preserving harmony with the ancestors. This belief stemmed from the legend of the Great Betrayal, where twins were said to have brought calamity upon the land. To this day, twins born in Dwamanso faced only two grim fates: to be consecrated to the shrine of the chief priest, or to be banished along with their mother. Chief Nyanor, the village leader, was a man of stern disposition, revered and feared in equal measure. He had two wives, Aqua, the first, who was steadfast and respected, and Efua, the younger, a woman of quiet strength and beauty. Efua's belly had swelled with the promise of life, and the villagers eagerly anticipated the arrival of the chief's newest child. Yet, when the midwives emerged from the birthing hut with somber expressions, the joyous anticipation turned to dread. Efua had given birth to twin girls. The news rippled through the village like wildfire. The council of elders convened immediately, their faces grave as they debated the fate of the twins and their mother. The chief priest, Nanakaranki, declared with unwavering authority that the twins must be taken to the shrine to serve the gods. It was the only way to cleanse the village of the abomination and avert the wrath of the ancestors. Efua, weak from childbirth, clutched her newborn daughters to her chest as tears streamed down her face. She had heard of the shrine's grim reputation, where those consecrated lived lives of servitude, never to see their families again. The thought of her innocent daughters facing such a fate was unbearable. She pleaded with Chief Nyanor, her husband, to intervene. Yet he was bound by tradition, his loyalty to the customs of their ancestors overriding his compassion. As the village awaited the ceremonial day when the twins would be taken to the shrine, whispers of unease spread. That very week, a mysterious plague began to ravage the land. Crops withered under a relentless sun, livestock fell ill, and villagers succumbed to an ailment that defied the knowledge of the herbalists. Panic gripped Dwamanso as neighboring villages reported similar misfortunes. Many saw this as a sign of the gods' displeasure. Unbeknownst to all, the twins possessed a mystical connection to the land. From the moment of their birth, the earth seemed to respond to their presence. When they cried, nearby flowers would unfurl their petals even in the heat of the midday sun. Their skin held an unexplainable warmth, and their tiny hands exuded a gentle glow under the moonlight. This connection grew stronger as they aged. Leaves seemed to rustle in harmony when they cooed, and wilting plants regained their vigor when their small fingers brushed against them. Birds, often timid around humans, would perch nearby, singing melodious tunes as if drawn to their aura. Streams of water appeared clearer and flowed more vibrantly when they were near, and even the air around them seemed fresher, carrying a faint, soothing fragrance. Their powers extended to the people too. Villagers who held them reported feeling an unshakable sense of peace, and those with fevers found themselves cooling under their touch. These miraculous abilities, though wondrous, were shrouded in secrecy by their mother, Efua, who feared how the villagers would react to such inexplicable powers. Their mother, Efua, marveled at these phenomena, but kept them hidden, fearing how the villagers would react to such inexplicable powers. On moonlit nights, Efua observed her daughters, Nyamekia and Adum, in awe. Their tiny hands seemed to glow faintly, and wherever they touched her skin, a soothing warmth spread. Efua confided her observations to Aqua, who, despite her initial skepticism, became convinced of the twins' extraordinary nature when her own lingering ailment vanished after holding them. Aqua, moved by the plight of Efua and the twins, decided to seek the wisdom of Abina, the village's reclusive seer. Abina lived at the edge of the sacred forest, shunned by many for her defiance of tradition, but revered by those desperate for answers. When Aqua recounted the events and described the twins, Abina's face lit up with recognition. She revealed a prophecy: two children, born under the twin stars, would possess the power to heal the land during a time of great suffering. The prophecy ignited a spark of hope in Aqua and Efua, but convincing the village would be a monumental task. The elders' unwavering adherence to tradition presented an immediate obstacle, their disdain for anything perceived as defiance deepening their resistance. Aqua and Efua braced themselves for the whispers of doubt and accusations of madness that spread among the villagers. They encountered suspicion at every turn, with many fearing the wrath of the gods if the prophecy were embraced. Their efforts to share Abina's words were met with scorn, and the women's determination was tested, as some villagers actively sought to discredit them, accusing Efua of witchcraft. Each encounter left them more isolated, yet their resolve only grew as they clung to the belief that the twins' gifts were a sign of hope and not doom. The elders were unyielding, their faith in tradition outweighing any talk of prophecy. When the ceremonial day arrived, the entire village gathered in the central square. Drummers beat out a solemn rhythm, and dancers performed a ritual to appease the gods. The twins, swaddled in white cloth, were brought forth by Efua, her face a mask of sorrow. As the chief priest raised his staff to begin the consecration, a sudden gust of wind swept through the square, extinguishing the ceremonial flames. Gasps rippled through the crowd as the twins, seemingly responding to the disruption, began to wail. The ground trembled and the sky darkened momentarily. To the astonishment of all, the twins' cries seemed to soothe the afflicted villagers nearby, their coughs ceasing, their labored breathing easing. Nana Koranki, shaken but resolute, declared the incident a sign of the gods' anger, urging the ceremony to proceed. However, Aqua, emboldened by the prophecy, stepped forward and demanded a halt. She recounted her visit to Abina and the seer's words. Her defiance sparked murmurs of dissent among the villagers, many of whom had begun to question the wisdom of their customs in the face of the twins' apparent powers. The chief, caught between his duty and his growing doubts, decreed a trial period. The twins would remain in the village under close watch, and if their powers proved beneficial, their fate would be reconsidered. This decision, though controversial, offered a glimmer of hope to Efua and Aqua. Over the following weeks, the twins' abilities became undeniable. They seemed to draw energy from the earth, their touch revitalizing wilting crops and healing the sick. Word of their powers spread beyond Dwamanso, attracting pilgrims from neighboring villages desperate for salvation. The once shunned twins became symbols of hope, their presence transforming the village into a sanctuary. Yet not everyone was convinced. Nana Karanki, whose authority had been undermined, conspired with a faction of elders to sabotage the twins. They spread rumors attributing the plague to the twins' birth and accusing Efua of sorcery. The tension culminated in an attack on Efua's hut one fateful night, driven by a mixture of fear, superstition, and resentment. A group of villagers, emboldened by the whispers of Nana Koranki and the dissenting elders, gathered under the cover of darkness. Torches in hand, their faces twisted with a blend of anger and uncertainty, they set upon the hut with shouts of condemnation. "We must rid the village of this curse," one man cried, though his voice wavered with doubt. Flames soon engulfed the structure, their crackling roar mingling with the cries of those too conflicted to stop the chaos. Inside, Efua clutched her daughters, her heart pounding with terror and resolve. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered prayers for guidance, before mustering the courage to flee into the forest, her daughters tightly wrapped in her arms. Flames engulfed the structure as Efua, clutching her daughters, fled into the forest. Guided by an inexplicable force, Efua found her way to Abina's dwelling. The seer welcomed them, offering refuge and revealing the full extent of the prophecy. The twins' powers, she explained, were not just to heal but to unite the land's fractured communities. However, their destiny hinged on the village's acceptance of change and the rejection of fear-driven customs. Meanwhile, the village's condition worsened. The plague spread with renewed vigor, and the crop's recovery faltered. Desperation drove the villagers to reconsider their stance. A delegation led by Akua ventured into the forest to seek Efua and the twins. When they found them, the villagers' humbled pleas moved Efua to tears. She agreed to return, but only under the condition that the twins would never face persecution again. Upon their return, a grand assembly was held. Chief Nyanor, chastened by the suffering and the unwavering support for the twins, wrestled with a deep internal conflict before declaring an end to the taboo. Nights were sleepless as he sat by the embers of his fire, replaying moments from his past. His father's stern lessons on upholding tradition, the chants of the ancestors during his initiation, and the pride he once felt in preserving the customs of their forebears. Yet now he could not ignore the pleading eyes of his people, the hope rekindled by his daughter's miraculous acts. Each sunrise brought another villager to his doorstep, sharing stories of healing and renewed life brought by the twins. Torn between the teachings of his ancestors and the reality before him, Chief Nyanor sought the solitude of the sacred forest, where he knelt in prayer, asking the gods for guidance. In the rustling leaves and the golden light filtering through the trees, he felt a calm resolve take root. The gods, he realized, had spoken not through words, but through the extraordinary presence of the twins. In the moments before his declaration, he stood silently before the gathered villagers, his hands trembling. "I was taught to fear change," he began, his voice heavy with emotion. "But today, I see that holding on to fear has brought us nothing but pain. I see now that the gods have blessed us, not cursed us. Let us embrace the blessings we have been given and build a future where our children are no longer bound by the chains of our past." For days he grappled with the weight of tradition versus the undeniable evidence of the twins' powers. Memories of his own childhood and the unwavering lessons of ancestral customs clashed with the haunting images of his suffering people and the miracles performed by his daughters. Let us embrace the blessings we have been given and build a future where our children are no longer bound by the chains of our past. He acknowledged the harm caused by blind adherence to tradition and pledged to lead the village into a new era of understanding and unity. The twins, now celebrated as Nyamakie, gift of God, and Adam, grace, continued to wield their powers for the good of the land. Their presence fostered harmony among the villages, dispelling the plague and ensuring bountiful harvests. Dwamanso, once bound by fear, became a beacon of hope and transformation. Years later, the story of the twins became a cherished legend, passed down to future generations as a testament to the strength of love, the power of unity, and the courage to challenge tradition for the greater good. The village thrived, its people forever changed by the miraculous bond between two extraordinary sisters and their unwavering mother.